Utah Symphony has a very special place in my heart, and here's why. I was asked to do the I Get Rhythm Variations and the Rhapsody in Blue. And it was an outdoor program, and of course I'd never played at the foot of a ski hill before, so that was a new experience, surrounded by beautiful mountains, but it was raining, and it was raining. And the audience, of course, sitting on the lawn, they had their raincoats, they had their umbrellas, because they knew this was what was happening. So it rained, and it rained. Now we're covered, but they're not. Second half of the program, here comes the Rhapsody in Blue. And when it gets to the main theme, da 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 da, all of a sudden, like out of an MGM musical, the clouds part, the sun shines, and there's an enormous rainbow that appears in the sky. And I could see it from where I was sitting at the piano, and I literally heard the audience go, oh. And I just said in my head, thank you, George Gershwin. I went to the library in Bay City, Michigan, my hometown, and asked the librarian for a book on Gershwin. And she came back with one called The Gershwin Years, and she pointed out to me that the authors were Lawrence Stewart and Edward Jablonski. And she said, did you know that Ed Jablonski's from Bay City, Michigan? And I thought, whoa, wait, somebody from my hometown wrote a book about Gershwin. Fast forward 8 years later, and I went to New York for my first trip at age 15, and was bound and determined to call Ed Jablonski. So I pulled out the Manhattan phone book, looked up Jablonski E, and there was a whole row and a half probably of them, and literally just put my finger on one and made it what we call a cold call. And when a guy answered the phone, I said, hi, my name is Kevin Cole. I'm from Bay City, Michigan. I play the piano, and I love Gershwin too. And there was a little chuckle at the other end of the line, but before the conversation was done, he and his wife invited me for supper the next night. And I noticed in their living room at their apartment at West 75th in Amsterdam in New York, they had a little upright piano, a little Baldwin upright. And so I was asked by Mr. Jablonski, would you like to play something? And I said, boy, would I. So I launched into a Gershwin medley of my own creation with some of the hit tunes. And then I played the first two piano preludes of Gershwin. And when I got done, Jablonski said something that changed the course of my life. He said, has anyone ever told you when you play Gershwin, you sound like Gershwin? After that initial meeting with Jablonski, he arranged for me to play for Gershwin's closest friends and his sister, people that actually knew George, and they were crying, and I thought it was, well, I must really be bad. They're crying and getting out Kleenex, but they were very emotional because they said, we never thought we'd hear the piano sound like George again. Well, being diagnosed with a brain tumor, it's a scary thing because I had no real big symptoms that prevented me from performing while this tumor was growing in my head, they tell me, for 15 years. In fact, I played a concert the Saturday before the Monday I went in for surgery. But after about 9-10 months of these things kind of coming and going, I said, I'm going to go see an ENT, and I did, and he was the one that said, we're going to get an MRI, and then saw this, and he said, this is a really big acoustic neuroma. They were amazed that it hadn't impeded more on my playing or balance and things like that. But I was one of the lucky ones. When they did the 8-hour surgery, I knew ahead of time that sometimes surgeons listen to music. So I gave him my solo disc of Gershwin, and I play the Rhapsody in Blue on it and the preludes and my arrangements, some of the same arrangements I played for Jablonski the first time I met him. And sure enough, Dr. Babu does the opening and gets things ready for the neurosurgeon to come in and do Dr. Jacobs to do his thing of removal. But what was so funny, he told me afterwards, he said, I listened to it, and when Dr. Jacob says, you got to listen to this, he said, I'm playing it again. So it was, to find out afterwards, it was very heartwarming to know that they had a sense, a real picture of what I did and do for a living. What am I passionate about in life? That's a big question for such a small brain. But I will tell you, I think just getting this music that I play, that I was blessed to be able to play from an early age, getting it out to people. You know, I've been asked since I was a little kid, why do you want to be in music? And I said, well, because I want to play and I want everybody to enjoy it. I want to play all over the world and have people enjoy it. And I think that's as innocent an answer as that is, that's still what I want to do.